All right, I'm here at the Beeman exhibit at the SHOT Show. I'm here with Peter Hernandez.
How you doing?
Thank you. And Peter is the one who's working on design issues and coming up with new air guns for the Beeman line. And we have 3 new air guns coming out of Beeman this year, and we have some examples here to take a look at. So, Peter, let's start with the underlever pre-charged rifle.
This is, I would say, one of the first underlever pre-charged rifle, which gives you the ability of never taking your eye off the target. Where most of your rifles, you have to use your bolt, cock it, and then shoot. With this one, all you have to do is just take it, aim, cock it, fire, cock it, fire. This is the beauty of this rifle, that you could never miss. You miss the first shot, you got a second shot ready, really. Okay.
If you miss, it's on you, is what you
yeah. And it comes with the 10-shot magazine. This one is right now is at our first ones are gonna be 2,000 psi fill.
In terms of caliber, what do we, just a 22 at this point, or 177?
We're gonna have 2 calibers. It's gonna come in 177 or 22, whatever the people want.
Okay. And we were talking earlier about the mechanism, because one of the problems with bullpups is tying in, for instance, the trigger is here, but the trigger mechanism is back here. And in this case, you've added a lever in the front that's actuating the trigger unit way back here. So kind of explain how you address that.
Well, the lever that connects your trigger to your sear, it's a really stiff one, and then the lever that controls your cocking is enclosed, so there's no flex, there's no rattles inside or anything like that, so it's very stiff inside, so you're not going to have any issues with the cocking or the trigger.
Okay, now if I understand it though, this one rides on a rail.
Yeah,
from the front.
This cocking mechanism runs in a rail, so it doesn't get out, it doesn't wiggle or anything. That it's a slippery rail, so it just keeps it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's made of Delrin, and that guides that, so there can be very little movement in that.
Yeah, very movement.
Okay. And do you recall the size of the tube here? I know I didn't ask you about that earlier, but how many cc's you might hold?
I don't recall the cc's on this one.
Okay, but how many shots would you expect on a 2,000 psi fill on this?
With the 2,000 psi, you're getting about 30 really good shots. That is shooting, if it's 22 at 800 to 830 feet per second, and about in 177 it's 1,000 feet per second. But it's adjustable. You can adjust the velocity. If you bring it down to the sweet spot, if your sweet spot is under 1,000 feet per second, you can extend the number of shots.
Right. Okay, and as we were talking earlier too about, you just put this together for the SHOT Show, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and this stock is not the one necessarily. It may be similar in terms of appearance and design, but you made this stock so that you could display the gun. What kind of stock is it going to have?
Right now it's going to be a wood stock, exactly like this.
Okay.
Exactly like this. So, because we already took out the geometry, everything is there for your finger, your shoulder, and I'm a pretty tall person, so it would fit me, it would fit most of your people.
Okay. But so you will get a wood stock.
Yeah, you're going to get a wood stock.
And it'll be maybe finished a little differently than this. But
correct.
The overall appearance is going to be similar to what we see.
Yeah, this is, as you see, this is probably going to, the production one's going to come out.
Okay, and when would we expect that to come out?
We're expected to have deliveries in 6 months.
6 months, okay. And do we have a projected retail on this?
The projected retail is $450 retails.
So I'm back with Peter. I was playing with it some, and I had a question about the device here on the end of the barrel. So Peter, what do we have here?
This is a sound suppressor. It's got some baffling inside. It can be taken off for cleaning. You unscrew the cap, and then you take off your 3 baffles, and it's got spring loaded. So, if you want it to clean, you can take this thing off.
Okay, and so this cap comes off.
Correct.
and then the baffles and everything. Now, if you wanted to remove this altogether, could you do that?
You could do that. It requires a little bit of more specified tool to do that, but it can be removed. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Threaded on there. Yeah.
And just does a pretty good job of quieting it down.
Yeah, it does.
These blast out without anything. They're pretty noisy.
Yeah, pretty much all your PCPs without any sound suppressing system, they're pretty noisy. There's a big blast when the air comes out, but this quiets down the blast.
Okay. The other thing we were talking about was the trigger, and this is an adjustable two-stage trigger.
It can be an adjustable two-stage trigger. You can adjust it, but it requires to remove the stock. Just one screw and removes the stock.
Okay, and then the adjustments are in here, and
the adjustments way in the back. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can adjust your trigger pull.
The weight,
everything.
And the first and second stages.
You can do that. Yeah.
Okay, great. When you said under lever with the pre-charge, it's kind of like what? But it makes sense the way that you've put it together here. All right, what do we have here?
This is your pistol that can be used for practicing or hunting. It gives you about 200 shots per fill, and it's a 3,000 psi pressure.
177.
177, and trigger's adjustable. It's got your 10-shot magazine.
This is similar. It's in production now.
Yeah, you can get this faster, but we say everything 6 months.
Right.
But you can get these faster.
Okay, and I see the
got your gauge there.
Gauge there at the end. How do you fill this thing?
You turn this right here, and you put a probe.
Gotcha.
You turn it, and you put a probe right there.
Okay, so and this is unregulated.
Yes, correct.
It's adjustable, or?
It's adjustable, so you can increase or decrease your velocity. You put a set screw, an Allen wrench through here, which puts tension on your springs.
Okay, and that's the adjustment that you.
That's adjustment for the velocity, correct?
Okay. Each of these has rails for scopes if you wanted to.
They have your standard rails, which it's a 3/8 or 11 millimeter. You can put your scopes if you want on these.
Okay, great. Oh, and as far as retail on that, did we talk about that?
We didn't talk about that. The retail on this one is around 300s.
300.
Yes.
And now for the jewel of the collection here.
Yes. This is a match gun, 10-meter match gun. The velocity is set at 575 feet per second. And it's got a regulator. In the tank, you have 3,000 psi. Back in the valve system, you have a pressure that requires to push your pellet at 575 feet per second.
And this preset at the factory.
Preset at the factory, but also you can also change it, increase your velocity if you want to.
All right.
It's got a match trigger, really crisp two-stage trigger, very easy to cock. You can see it just go, stops there and fires. Two-stage trigger. It doesn't come with a scope. It'll come with your sight.
You're thinking match diopter type sights?
Match diopter sights. And it has an interesting function. This little button here helps you, like if you want to practice your trigger pull, you set it to the position where all you have to do is just cock the gun. It's kind of like a dry fire, and you're not shooting any air out.
Right.
You're just adjusting your trigger.
Gotcha.
If you turn it the other way, you're gonna fire now.
And as far as the stock, you look like you have a lot of adjustments there as well.
You can adjust almost everything in this one. You can adjust the rear end, the cheek piece, the bottom part, and it also comes with your mounting bracket, so you can mount the support for your hands. So you can bring it down. And the retail on this one's going to be around $650, which is a steal.
Where are the barrels made?
In our factory overseas.
Overseas, okay.
Correct.
We used to think of, kind of look down at a lot of the Asian-made that had components, but with modern machine technology, it really doesn't matter as much where those parts come from, where they're made.
Correct.
As long as you get the quality control. So, do you folks watch the production on these?
Yes. We have. in our facility in Santa Fe Springs, California, we check 100%. If anything goes wrong, we call the factory and says, okay, you need to control these tolerances. We know what we're looking for. We test and we fire them. We check the pressure. We leak test them. So make sure when the customer gets it, it'll work.
Good. Okay. Great. And this is also maybe 6 months out?
Yeah, 6 months out or sooner.
Okay. Well, I would think that would be popular with some of the schools. It'd be a real competitor for, say, the Challenger or that type of gun.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I like the way the trigger feels. I have an FWD, which is, everybody knows FWD is a great gun, and I like the trigger just as much as an FWD.
Okay, great. All right, well, I think that covers the new products. I'm glad to see Beeman's taken some steps to kind of address some innovation in the airgun industry, and I appreciate your design work on some of these.
Oh.